fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here. And now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Izuku Midoriya. And, well, Onslaught, Charles Xavier, and Magneto's minds mixed into one being. Onslaught has murdered 2 million people and has kidnapped Franklin Richards, a reality-bending mutant. Now, with how high stakes everything are, Midoriya was released from the negative zone and is going to be working with the Earth's heroes. Now, S.H.I.E.L.D. is aware of how much this boy has changed in this time. The rest of the world, however, they are not. For the world, it's only been 3.5 months, whereas for Midoriya, it's been 8 years. Now, with that being said, the plan was simple. Midoriya told it to Captain America, and he also told it to the Sentry. And the rest of the world's heroes, they were given simple directives. Try to stop Midoriya, and act like he is truly a villain. Now, with that being said, the plan was then put into action. It was staged that Midoriya broke free of the Phantom Zone, or broke free of the Negative Zone, not the Phantom Zone. Now, Midoriya, he did then find Onslaught in the Hellfire Club. As the two, they did begin a conversation. Now, we'll pick up there, where Onslaught, or Charles as I will be referring to him as, he is speaking with Midoriya. Midoriya, he does hear about Charles's plan, and he does have a few concerns about it. Charles's plan is quite simple. Within the last few months, he's been picking up a small mutant presence somewhere. Every single day, it seems to get more and more powerful. And he doesn't know where it's really at. He can sense it, however. It's the mutant gene. It is still active somewhere in the world. And he did theorize that this was the birth of a mutant. It's going to happen soon. It's going to happen within the month. And Charles does know how the world would react to it. Now, in reality, the birth of Hope Summers is 6 days away. And Midoriya, he was alarmed to hear about this. The first mutant born after M Day. This is big. And Midoriya, he did feel like reevaluating a few things with this information. However, you have Charles, who he is headfast and headstrong in his belief. Now, Midoriya, he did actually look at the bartender, as she did set down a drink in front of him. Midoriya asking if this lady right here is a mutant, and if she should even be really hearing this. Charles looking at the mutant in question, and saying that she is on their side. Really? And who might she be? She's the leader of the Brotherhood of Mutants. And be careful if she's a bit more feisty with you. You did do something that pissed her off. Now, Midoriya would ask the mutant who she is, to which she would just say that Midoriya can call her Mystique. Mystique? Huh. And what was the thing I did to piss you off? You murdered my son. Really? Going to be a lot more specific. You murdered Kirk. Oh, fuck. You're his mom? Yes, I am. That's funny. As much as I remember, he was put up for adoption. He didn't have a real mother. He didn't know his birth mom. Now, she would just tell Midoriya that he's an asshole, and Kirk was an innocent young man. To which Midoriya would respond with a few simple words. Kirk fucked his girlfriend. And he was pretty pissed off. Especially because his girlfriend cheated on him with Kirk. And he found out after he was dead. And came back to life. Kirk ruined a relationship that was almost 5 years long and strong. And he got what he deserved. Now, Mystique, she heard that information. It pissed her off, but at the same time, yeah. Her son fucked with this guy. And she's well aware that he's an Omega level, if not beyond Omega level. Especially because of all the heavy hitters he murdered during the World War Hulk event. And he went blow for blow with the Sentry. Now, you do have Midoriya who does turn back to Charles. And talk about how he's aware that the Sentry is going to be a very, very, well, annoying card to deal with. So he can deal with it himself. Seems like you have everything planned out in your head. Please. You try being trapped in the negative zone. A lot of time to think. The moment I broke free, I knew I'd have to find you. You're just trying to do better by our species. Make sure the world knows who's on top. At the same time, I want to make sure we survive. So, tell me what I need to do. That test is in order. The Sentry, he can come next. However, well, let's see. This is a bit more personal to you. Now, Charles is going to explain that Midoriya remembers whenever he was 14, and he was mind controlled, correct? Now, Midoriya, he would just state yes. And Charles would reveal that it was Dr. Doom who did do this to him. The man who does currently live in Latveria, and rules over the country with an iron fist. Now, Midoriya, the moment he heard this information, he was pissed. He finally knows who did this to him. And as it turns out, the Avengers, they held this information away. Charles admitting that he was told it. And that he did not want to give it to Midoriya. Because he would fly straight into the country and do something stupid. However, right now that's what they do need. Something stupid. Now, Midoriya, he would look at Charles and tell him that he's going to take care of Doom and to keep an eye on the TVs. Now, Midoriya, he would phase through the ceiling as he does fly away. The moment Midoriya does get far enough and he's actually over the ocean, he does stop as he would bring up his arm and roll back his sleeve before pressing down a button on the bracelet. Now, Midoriya does go over his information with S.H.I.E.L.D. This is going on, this is where Xavier is at. However, he cannot find Franklin Richards. Now, Tony Stark is also on the line, as he does ask the boy what he's doing next. Midoriya stating that Onslaught gave him a little bit of a mission to test if he's really still a villain. and ironically, it's a bit of a personal issue. Now, Midoriya would explain what it is, and it kind of does surprise everybody. Since Midoriya, he does talk about how he would have liked to know this information. However, for right now, he's just going to go to Latveria and take the man down. Now, this is seen as a no-go. The Avengers, they're talking about what can happen if Midoriya does do this. To which Midoriya, he does tell them that he's doing what he can. The moment he finds Franklin, he's going to get him out of there. And then him and the Sentry are going to take down Onslaught. Now, Midoriya would cut communications there, as the Avengers are left on the line with S.H.I.E.L.D. And Tony Stark, he does ask what they want to do, in case the boy goes off script. Now, they talk about how the boy's not going off script. He's more or less making it up on the fly as he does go. He's improvising, especially because this wasn't what he thought he'd have to do. Now, Midoriya flies into Latveria, and he quickly dismantles Doom. Now, Midoriya breaks through Doom's castle and just obliterates everything in his path. As you do actually cut to Midoriya holding Doom by the throat, as he does rip off the metal mask Doom does wear. And you do see Victor, as Midoriya does hold him upwards towards the sky, as Doom's castle is currently burning. And Midoriya does look at this man, asking him if he really did think it was a good idea to do that to him. Doom going about his bullshit, talking about how Midoriya will not get away with this, he is superior. Now, Midoriya, yeah, he just does do one thing. He throws his hand behind him and obliterates the forces coming towards him, completely wiping them off the map. Now, Doom does watch on, as the security robots and other things he did create were all wiped out with a wave of a hand. And Midoriya, he does go back to looking at Doom, before he does just bring his hand up. And he does go into Doom's mind. Now, Midoriya shuts it down for right now, as once he does do that, he does go to toss Doom towards the ground. And Doom, he does smash down. As Midoriya, he would inform Latveria that they are liberated, and that Doom will no longer be a problem. Now, Midoriya would just then take off into the night sky, as S.H.I.E.L.D, they do come in, and they pick up the pieces to what Midoriya left them behind. Now, with that, you do actually have the news broadcast that would be given, as it is announced that Izuku Midoriya has murdered Victor Von Doom. In reality, that is what S.H.I.E.L.D said happened. However, for Onslaught, he does see this as somewhat of a personal victory, and he does still have a little bit of an idea for Midoriya. Midoriya will face the Sentry in combat. It is only then whenever he murders him will he show the location of Franklin. Now, with all that being said and done, we actually do have, after, or about 24 hours before, over with Yui Midoriya. She is currently saying goodbye to some of her friends. A lot of them have been depowered from the House of M, and have stuck around the mansion simply because it was not safe for them to leave the walls. However, with the Juggernaut making a surprise visit, and humans being a bit more ignorant since Midoriya's return. Yeah. The depowered mutants need to leave, especially because they could be targeted by villains. Now, Yui, she does say goodbye to some of her friends as they would get on a bus. And she does watch as they do leave. Now, there is whenever they get outside the walls. And they do take action. And the buses, they are destroyed. As the mutants, they watch on in horror. Now, Cyclops, X-23, Rogue, and a whole lot of others, they do rush in. And they do try to save mutants, or former mutants, since this was an unexpected scenario. The buses people knew had depowered mutants. However, there was the fear that one of those mutants on one bus could regain their abilities. And they could not have that. They had to purify the world. Now, Yui, she did watch on in horror, as this all did happen. Some of her friends just got murdered, and she doesn't know how to react. In fact, she almost lashed out with her own psychic powers. However, the Stepford they did step in and try to calm her down. And everyone, they were beaten and taken into custody. Now, a lot of the people, they do claim that they were doing what they believed was right, and that the mutants had no jurisdiction. And it was all just a lot for Yui to take in. She knows why her brother did certain things, but seeing it firsthand was not something she ever expected. And she did try to call and talk to Inko about all of it. With what happened, it startled her. She didn't think that people would be this bad, especially to them. And in reality, Inko, she doesn't really know how to say it. People aren't nice or good-natured as she does believe. Whenever you're a mutant, they do seem to have a bit worse of a response to you. That's at least how it was whenever Midoriya first went on scene. A lot of people were surprised by it. And Mitsuki, she did seem to be a bit skeptical about Inko, thinking that she could be an Epsilon mutant. Now, with that, there was whenever Bakugo was taken away after he was hit with a Terrigen Mist. They found that Bakugo wasn't inhuman, and Mitsuki herself, she does remember that day. Now, she lost her husband, and ever since then it was difficult. She does have a son, but she barely ever does see him. And at times, it doesn't even seem like he's ever really home, whenever he does come by to visit. Now, with that being said, you do actually have the Sentry who does stand in front of the United Nations. And they are all talking about what needs to be taken or what action needs to be taken in order to stop this Izuku boy. Now, the Sentry would reveal that he's already on the case, and that the Avengers and everyone else, they do believe that they have Midoriya's location. However, where he would be hiding, they would all need to evacuate humans. And it's going to be a bit more heavy hitting than everyone is going to expect. Now, the world and the President of the United States does want verification from the Sentry. He will kill Izuku Midoriya again and make sure that he does stay dead. That is an order. And the Sentry, he would comply. as the public is given the statement that the Sentry is going to hunt down Izuku Midoriya, and that he is on the top of the most wanted list. Now, we do actually cut back to that bar, where Midoriya, he is having a drink, and he's talking with a lot of people. Some of them are surprised, and others seem skeptical. Now, Midoriya, he did want to meet whoever was in charge of this place. And, well, he got the chance to. Him being escorted up the stairs by a bodyguard. As he would walk into a room, he would see a particular woman, as she would spin the chair around, and she would go to look at Midoriya. Her jumping up and revealing that she's a fangirl of his work. Now, Midoriya would look at this woman. What is she, a mutant and inhuman? What are you? Oh, allow me to introduce myself. My name's Alien Queen. A lot of people like to call me that. However, I also do go by Freak Show, Monster, and, well, Acid. Or as I like to call myself, Chem. Okay. You know who I am. Oh, I'm well aware. I gotta say, having you here at the bar, it's quite nice. You're drawing in a lot of business. Especially with the Brotherhood around. I'm guessing you let them operate out of here for free? Oh no, they pay their dues. But, well, I do my own things. And I run a nice little smooth operation around here. Interesting. So, what can you do? Oh, if you're wondering what my abilities are, they're top-notch. I can manipulate chemicals and do anything. I can turn CO2 and oxygen chemicals along with hydrogen into any material I do need to or need to be provided with. And I mostly like to use it for acid-like attacks. However, I'm not too against throwing molten steel at you. Interesting. Very much so. Now, Mina would go on stating, as she would ask him exactly why did he want to meet. Easy. Do you know where Franklin Richards is being held? Oh, the kid? Don't know. As far as I'm aware, he's never been in here. Besides, he's not 18. That'd be bad for business. A kid in a bar, all that. I see. So, you're a fan of me, right? Do you agree with Onslaught? Onslaught? Nah, not really too much of a fan. Then again, if he does more or less change everyone in the world into a mutant, then I would have better business around here. We did have to start letting some normals in here. They don't really seem to be too bothered very much. In fact, some of them at least, the one I've kicked out, attributed it to being in a zoo. You see exotic creatures that you wouldn't see anywhere else. At their most basic instinct. I see. Well, what we would say? Him bringing up one of his hands and using his power, as a bottle and 2 glasses would float over. Now, as it does happen, Midoriya, he would just pour a drink into his glass and then pour one for Mina, as the two would sit down. And Midoriya would say that he does have a business proposition for her. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.